It's very generalized, but here's something that bugs me in world building. It's a trope that I hate the most, and you see it everywhere. It is nothing but absolutely detrimental to any form of world building when the mechanics that you use and your players or whoever's involved interact with don't match the world and the story you are in, right? So a good example of this is in D&D. This is done a lot, where they set up a room, right, that is very obviously a boss room that's made for a fight. DMs do this all the time, and it's a really bad habit that DMs have. They set up a room that players will walk into and immediately know, oh, a boss fight is happening here. You see it in video games as well. Why the fuck in Mass Effect would there be millions of these random ass cover things when you're like running through a tunnel that's made by a bunch of engineers for like an electric power grid or something like that, right? Your story and your world building needs to match your mechanics. So a good example of this is if you are going to set up a boss room or a boss fight that's going to happen between your players and the boss that they've run into, or the potential for a boss fight to happen if, for example, they rolled poorly or they couldn't negotiate their way out of it. Your boss room should look the way that matches the boss's personality. So I'm trying to think of good examples. So a good example is this. If your players are fighting within a dragon's lair, like inside of a dragon's lair, and they're fucking conversing with this dragon before this fight goes wrong, and they roll poorly, or something shitty happens, or your players do something really stupid, why the fuck would the dragon have very specifically placed big chunks of rock for players to hide behind, right? That are just sitting there with zero explanation. Was the dragon fucking playing marbles before you got there? Like, what the fuck is that doing there? It doesn't make sense. Now, in that very same scenario, if you walk into a dragon's lair and the dragon has a hoard of treasure, and maybe the dragon's a little bit fucking OCD, and one of his traits of his personality is that he's very into organizational things. So he's organized, this is a pile of gold coins. This is a pile of valuable treasures. This is a pile of magical shit, right? That then informs your players on how to play the game. Like, okay, this is part of this dragon's personality. He's very OCD, so the pile of magical shit is over there. So I don't think we should send the barbarian running over to the pile of magical shit that might have something that turns this dragon into a fucking rat, right? We should probably send the mage over there because he's going to do better, right? Also, playing into the trope, mages then see a book and they're like, oh, hey, great, over there, pile of books, that's where I want to head, right? If you've got a bard, maybe you want to hide inside the gold coins, a cursed gold coin that makes your bard infinitely rich, but it drops his charisma by 5 points, right? So the bard dives into the pile of gold to hide from the dragon, blah, 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 and he comes out with a coin. But the coin is cursed. Drops his charisma by 5 points, and if you really want to be an ass, it makes him impotent, so his dick no longer works, right? And you can say, this gold coin that you have can pay for anything. Anything that you need to buy from any vendor ever. But now you're cursed because you touched it. Oh, and anyone who touches it after you is going to be cursed. And guess what? That blacksmith that you bought that really, really fancy sword from using that gold coin, he can't fuck his wife now, so he's coming for you, right? That's how you world build. That's how you develop on stories, when your mechanics match your world around you, right? I think that's probably one of the biggest things that annoy me, is when you walk into a room and you're like, I can sense it. This is a boss fight coming. There will be 25 enemies coming through that door and that door over there for no reason at all. It's fucking horrible.